There's nothing better than a drive-by shooting with your homies on a Friday night and then pulling the race card when you get 25 to life. Of course, the weapon in your hand, manufactured by God's chosen people, is the one and only, the Mini Uzi. Now this little fucker may not look like it, but he'll have you bleeding like a stuck pig. It's barely bigger than a handgun, and it'll only set you back by just north of $1,000. So that's what we're going to be modeling today. I got a couple of reference images here that I pulled from Google. I got that in PureRef. I'll stick that in the top right corner because I don't really need my outliner anyway. And then in the background, we got another side view image which I pulled off of Wikipedia just so I can get the proportions right. So I'm going to start by modeling the lower section of the gun, and I'm going to turn this into a little time lapse because this is pretty simple, just really easy basic techniques that everybody's already familiar with. I'm starting with a plane and then I'm reshaping that plane according to this little piece where the hand grip is attached to the body of the gun. And then I use the edge from the bottom of that little piece to start shaping the grip. And on this part here, I decided that it's best if I use a subdivision surface modifier to get the smooth round shapes correctly. So I'm trying to keep my topology organized. As you know, when you're using the subdivision surface modifier, you want to have quads only. You don't want to have any n-gons, so you want to pay attention to how you're structuring this. But basically, I'm just extruding this edge and I'm moving the vertices around according to the background image. Then I'm just rewiring things a little bit. I'm adding some loop cuts so everything's flowing more correctly. I want to keep my geometry as consistent as I can for now. Once I got the rough shape, I extrude this to give it a little bit of thickness. I'm not sure how thick it's supposed to be, so I'm just going to eyeball it. And then just a little bit more moving shit around, sliding my edge loops until I get the right shape, or at least until I get a shape which looks nice to me. And once we got the bottom of the hand grip done, we have the option to inset the surface below. That's just going to kind of tighten the geometry at the bottom. It's optional. It's up to you whether you think this looks better or not. And once we take care of that, we bevel the front, and we're more or less finished with the grip for now. And we'll get back to the details later. And now at the top of the gun, the same shit. I start with a vertex which I'm going to use to extrude out the shape of the receiver. In the front I have to narrow it down just a little bit, and then in the middle we have to cut the hole where the bullets come out of. So I'm going to add a cube. I want to bevel that cube. That gives me the right shape, so I can just use that with a boolean modifier to cut that hole, and there we go. Now guys, when I make these videos, I move pretty quickly because my intention with these videos is just to introduce you guys to a bunch of different tools and techniques and methods to try and explain my thought process, to try and explain the logic that I'm using when I'm creating things. There's no way I can explain to you the entire process of modeling a gun like this in one 20-minute video. It's just impossible. So the point here is that you pay attention, take some notes, remember what you see me do here, remember some of the tools, and then you can use them in your own projects later on. And if you want to learn more tools and more methods and more techniques for 3D modeling, which I use in my videos, I made a course. It's called the Blender Masterclass course. In that course, I explained quite literally every single tool and technique which I'm familiar with in Blender when it comes to 3D modeling. I designed that course so that everything is in one place, so that when you go through that, there will not be one aspect of 3D modeling that you're not familiar with. Then when you do watch a more complicated tutorial like this one right here, you're going to be able to follow more easily. You're going to be able to work on your own projects more independently. It's basically designed to give you what I've harvested over the last 10, 11 years or whatever it's been, so you don't have to go through all that trouble. You can just have everything in one place. So go check that out. There's a link in the description. Now that's enough. Let's get back to work. Now, if you're IDF, that means you're training to hit very small targets, which means you're going to have to use the iron sight. And that consists of two parts. We have this object in the front and we have this thing in the back. We're going to start with this one in the front here. So if you take a look at the reference image, you can see we have to add a loop cut around here somewhere. And I'm not yet sure what the inside of this surface looks like, so we're going to get to that later. But for now, we're just going to take this edge here from the side. Maybe we can delete this face. We take the edge from the side here. We extrude it up once like this. Well, we got to pull that backwards a little bit. And then we lift this thing up all the way to the top. We're going to take these two vertices, bevel them with Control B and V to only bevel the vertex, and we're going to shape that roughly according to the shape which we see in the background. Now check this out. This is going to be the important part here. You see that we have this sort of lowered area here, and then we have this rim around the top, so we're going to have to make that properly. Now luckily I don't care too much about my topology here. I'm just trying to keep this simple and low poly, so we're going to do this as follows. We're going to join these two vertices here with J, then we're going to take the face at the top, we're going to inset it, just inset it a little bit, and then we take these two vertices, we can join them as well. Well, we don't need this down here. We can just take all this, X dissolve faces, get rid of the extra vertices if you got any, but this is fine. And then place the cursor onto this edge here. With the 3D cursor set as the pivot point, you're going to select this face, E to extrude, but right click to cancel, and then use the shear tool over here and use this slider at the top to just push that inwards a little bit like this. And that's how we create this little shape. So now you can scale this up or down if you want to. Make sure to merge your vertices by distance, otherwise you're going to have a double vertex at this point. point. And there's that. Now we're going to have to extrude this inwards to give it a little bit of thickness. Let me show you my philosophy when it comes to that type of stuff. As you can see right now, we have this edge here, which we're supposed to connect with this surface here. And if we took good care of our topology, then we would add a bunch of loop cuts here and we would try to connect everything properly. But I don't really give a shit about any of that. So here's what I'm going to do instead. I'm just going to fill this with a face. Maybe it's best if I use my mirror modifier so I can delete everything on one side. Add modifier, generate mirror. We want that on the y-axis. Of course, we need our origin point to be in the middle as well. And by the way, in this case, it's very important that we place the mirror modifier above the boolean modifier, because otherwise that's going to fuck up the shape that we got going on back here. And then I'll delete this vertex to get rid of this face back here. I'm going to fill this with a large n-gon. So in that case, I also have to connect this side here, which means I guess I'll just have to delete this edge here. But I keep this vertex, so I can select these, down here, fill that with an n-gon, and then I can select this edge segment around the top here, and I fill that with F, and that gives me an n-gon, so I can very easily move this stuff around. We're going to do something similar in the back for the rear iron sight. First, well, we have to create this big bevel at the top here, and this is something where you really got to pay attention, because if you look over here, we got a clear bevel, but then when you look to the front here, there doesn't seem to be a bevel anymore. Well, we can't see it, but we can't really bevel this edge in a conventional way. That would be a real pain in the ass. Luckily, you can't see that part, so we don't really need a bevel here because it's not going to be visible. So we're only going to create the bevel on the back part of this hole, and well, I guess we just got to apply the mirror, we apply the boolean, whatever. We take this edge, we bevel that with Control B, and then up here is where we're going to have to create the back part of the iron sight. So we're going to start with a loop cut up here, and then at the top here we're going to add a knife cut. Click here, run that along the y-axis like this, maybe another loop cut over here, and this is the part that we're going to extrude up. So we go back to side view, we extrude it once, we get the first step, then we can add another loop cut here. Don't worry, we're going to clean this up, and then we do the same shit we did before. So we extrude this up to the top, we take these two edges from the corners, we're going to bevel those with Control B, scroll up a couple of times so it's nice and smooth, and there you go. Now of course we take these two faces, we press X dissolve faces to turn that into one big n-gon, get rid of any of these edges over here which you don't need. Also we can get rid of this edge over here in the back, these edges here, all these edges over here, and there you go. Now we got a very simple shape for the iron sight. So now we get to the part that I really don't want to do, but we got to do it, and that's going to be the surface over here at the top of the gun. Any picture you look at this looks a little bit different, so I'm going to go with what I see in the reference image here, and that's going to be something like this. We're going to click right here, Shift A, give me a plane, we're going to collapse that into a vertex, and then we're just going to use that to extrude out the base shape of this object. We got a couple of little steps where we need to add some loop cuts so we can make these separate segments. Over here we need to lift this entire surface up a little bit, and then this is where we have a cut. This is where the bullets come out of, and after we cross that area, then we get over here to the end where we got another curve, so we can add another loop cut here, lower this part down, and in the back we make this little bit, so we're going to need 3 steps for that, and this part in the end we're going to lower down a little bit again. And then we can easily take this, dissolve the faces, get rid of all the extra vertices which we don't need. We're going to create some bevels to get the shape that we want up here and on the other side as well, and then eventually we extrude this out. We take this edge segment over here from the top, and that segment at the top we're going to bevel just a little bit like this. Let's see from side view how much. It's got to be something roughly like this. Okay, and now over here I'm going to add a loop cut. I'm going to bevel that and bring it close to the sides like this, and then around the next couple of vertices I want to have a knife cut. So in total I'm going to have 4 knife cuts. I want 2 on each side here, and I take this shape from the top, I'm going to push that inwards a little bit. These 2 segments here I'm going to bevel with Control B, and now since this looks pretty shitty, I'm going to take a couple of faces from the top like this, give me X dissolve faces. In the front we're going to need a couple of connections here, so we can take this segment like this and we can push that inwards a little bit so it gets close to the body. And just a little heads up, this is what I'm going to do about my texturing to make this look a little bit prettier. Right now if we go Object Shade Auto Smooth, we get all these weird shitty artifacts, so I'm going to select all these edges around the bevels like this, Control E, mark sharp. I can also mark sharps on the other parts that I want to keep sharp, or just around all the bevels will do the job just fine. Even over here on the inside we want to mark sharps, and over here in the back make sure you get everything. And I guarantee you that somebody watching this already clicked away because they're thinking Aryan is retarded. Aryan, what the fuck are you doing? Well, I know exactly what the fuck I'm doing, so let me show you something. 3000 IQ trick. Switch over to the shading tab, and to make this look a little bit prettier you have to be in cycles, and you add a new material to this object. Let's just make that dark blue for now so you can see it a little bit better, maybe turn up metallic, And then all you gotta do is go Shift A, add a bevel node, plug that into normal, turn up the sample, set the radius to something a little bit lower. As you can see, all of a sudden everything looks nice and smooth and pretty. You got bevels where you don't even got bevels on your geometry. Later on you can bake this as a normal map, so you can include that in your texture. You can export that. This is a great way to control your shading to make your shit look smooth. Everything is going to look much higher in quality. We'll get to that later, maybe in another video, because I don't want to do texturing in this video. If you want to see a texturing video, let me know down in the comments. Now this next part, the handle in the front or the handguard or whatever, that part was all fucked up as well. Here's a little time lapse. I don't really know what to tell you. You can see what I'm doing here. I'm just gonna keep talking, pretend like I'm talking about something important. I have to talk non-stop in these videos because it's better for engagement, so maybe I can tell you a little story. So let's read a little bit of Wikipedia. The USS Liberty incident was an attack on a United States Navy technical research ship, USS Liberty, by Israeli Air Force jet fighter aircraft and Israeli Navy torpedo boats on the 8th of June 1967 during the Six-Day War. The attack killed 34 crew members, wounded 171 crew members, and severely damaged the ship. Both the Israeli and United States governments conducted inquiries and issued reports that concluded the attack was a mistake due to Israeli confusion about the ship's identity. I don't know about you, but to me that sounds like the biggest bullshit of all time. Anyway, that's enough. Let's get back to the video. Alright, next up, we got a 5 million IQ trick on the table. Take a look at this part over here in the front. On the handguard, we got these little lines or ridges or whatever you call these things. That's what we're going to make next. Now, here's how you can do this in this situation. First of all, we're going to take this surface from one side. We're going to select all the faces, which we got right here. And over here on this front area, we're not going to worry about nothing in the back or anything like that. Shift D, you're going to separate that by selection and pull it out to around here somewhere. And now check this out. We place the cursor at the beginning. Shift A, give me a plane. We're going to flip him sideways. Add modifier, generate, give me the legacy array modifier. Go to constant offset and you're going to use x-axis. From side view, place the first and the initial plane onto the first ridge, and then decrease the distance until that lines up with the second ridge. Turn up the count, adjust the distance again so everything lines up properly. Turn up the count a little bit more, maybe make a couple more adjustments. Once you get it more or less right, you're going to apply the array modifier, select everything, extrude it out just a little bit, and now select this surface which we got down here, add modifier, generate boolean, set that to intersect, and now you're going to target these planes outside. Apply the boolean modifier. You're going to have to cut off the extra geometry, so cut off these planes which we just created, delete vertices right there. Also all of this, we're going to have to do a little bit more cleanup right there, and now we're left with this abomination of a shape. All we got to do now is turn these into tiny thin little segments. So we're going to select the first section from side view. This is going to be the segment up until here somewhere. With individual origins, we're going to scale them to 0 on the x-axis, merge vertices by distance. As you can see, that just turns them into edge segments. They're no longer face segments. Then on these over here, we're going to have to add loop guts in the middle. Once you added a bunch of loop guts, now you're going to delete everything around them. So maybe you could just select the loop guts, Control I to invert your selection, deselect everything else. So deselect the geometry that we created over here before, deselect the other parts in the front as well. And then for the final section, once again, select everything, scale to 0 with individual origins, merge by distance. And now we got the lines which we can easily place on top of this surface. But what now? Now you're going to slide some of these vertices into place, duplicate everything, bring it over to the other side using the 3D cursor. And now here comes the best part. You go up here to object, convert, you convert this shit to a curve, because when you convert it to a curve, you can now go down here to curve settings, scroll down to geometry, open this up. In the bevel section, you just have to turn up the depth a little bit. So we want to have something like this. You can adjust the resolution here. If you don't want to have too many polygons, you're going to go for a smaller number. Well, some of these are not really on the surface, so maybe we can use shrink wrap to fix that. You just set the resolution to the lowest value, convert these curves back to a mesh, select all the middle segments which were created here by this curve thing that we just did, invert the selection, delete all the other edges, and then we really just need to fill in the ones over here in the middle which are on the curved surfaces. So you select an edge, you fill everything around the entire loop, and then, well, we just use the shrink wrap modifier. We're going to target the surface underneath here, deflate these a little bit, and before you know it, they are more or less exactly on the surface. And then once we fixed all that up, now we join all these back together. We want the ends to be a little bit round, so we're going to select all the edges on the ends, Control B and V to bevel them so they turn into something that looks like this. And then, well, I suppose we could select everything, inset with I, use Alt S to push this outwards a little bit and maybe add a little bit of a bevel there. This is optional. You don't really have to do this because it's going to add a bunch of polygons. If you do add the bevel, make sure you go select loop, select boundary loop, because that's going to deselect all the edges which were selected here. It's only going to leave the outlines of your surfaces selected. I bet you didn't know this shit. Like the fucking video, subscribe to the channel. Half of you guys watching these videos don't even subscribe to the channel. What the fuck is that? I'm out here reading Wikipedia and Blender tutorials. I'm about to get cancelled any day now. Anyway, I don't want to add bevels to these lines, so I'm just going to lower them down. I'm going to do the same thing on these as I did up here with the shading thing. You know, I added the bevel node in the shading tab and all that. And by the way, with this thing, I'm going to do a couple more things. For example, I'm going to take the edges from down here and I'll join them with this outer part so I can fill this and this as well. And then I can do an Handguard over here in the front so I can close that area. And then who knows, maybe I can add a bit of a bevel there or something like that. We're going to see. I'll probably do that later. There's a couple more areas which I can bevel, like these corners back here. I don't want to go into details about all that. You guys know the story. And now let me tell you about another thing which is really important if you're modeling objects where you want to keep your polygon count optimized. If you take a look at these features on the side of the gun, like this hole down here or this shape at the top, whatever the hell that is, you don't actually have to have these as part of your model. So you can model these on the side, turn them into a normal map, and then apply that shit to your model so it looks like these features are there, but they're not actually there. You don't actually increase the polygon count. So in this case, I'm modeling the hole. I'm modeling this little shape at the top here on the receiver, and then once they're modeled, I place them on the same surface. And now let me show you something. When I want to turn this into a normal map, I first make sure these are part of the same object. Then I also gotta make sure the normals are correct, and after that I add a plane. I make that plane just a little bit larger than both of these two features. Maybe we want to separate them just a little bit before we continue. So we want to have this up here. Maybe we want to make it a little bit smaller or something. The plane's got to be bigger than both of these features. We're going to lift it up here. And in the shading tab, you're going to add a new material here. Shift A, image texture node, place that over here, generate a new image, name that whatever. You're going to change the resolution here to 2048. We're going to reduce that later on to get better edges. Check 32-bit float, new image, set this here to non-color. Then select the surface underneath, select the plane, go up here to render properties, go down to bake, make sure you're in cycles, you set this to normal, you check select it to active, you set the margin to 0, you hit bake, and now you gotta wait a couple of seconds, and that's gonna produce a normal map which you can now plug up here. You just search for and add a normal map node, place that here, wire this shit up, and now you're gonna be able to see that in your texture view. Now of course currently it looks like shit, but when you set up your lighting a little bit better and when the whole environment is set up properly, when you give this a little bit of color, maybe you make it metallic or something, it really is gonna start looking pretty convincing, especially when you view it from a distance. This is the way they do it when they make models for games. Now this video is getting pretty damn long and I don't want to sit here all day modeling this mini Uzi, so here's another time lapse. It's easier for me to make a time lapse because it's a little bit more relaxing. The hardest thing on earth is modeling and speaking at the same time, because I also gotta time my words with the moments that I want to capture on tape. Because when I edit these videos, I just cut out the silence. So if I want something to stay in the video, I have to make sure to say something on that part. And it really is a pain in the ass sometimes. It's exhausting. I don't want to sit here and do this shit anymore. I'm in a bad mood. I still gotta go train. It's fucking raining. But I don't suppose anybody wants to listen to me bitching and moaning about the fucking weather. So let's do a couple more time lapses, then we're gonna wrap it up. On the side of the hand grip, we got these two little holes. I don't know what purpose those serve, but I select a couple of faces around the areas where I want those holes. I inset those faces, loop tools to turn that shit into a circle. Then I do a little bit of extrusion inside. I mark the sharps, and there you go. That looks pretty cool, doesn't it? Now watch this. We're gonna do some magic. We already talked about this before, but I just want to show you what this looks like in practice. Remember I said we're going to bake some normal maps. I made a couple of these details on the side of this gun. There's a million polygons here. I don't want to have that shit on my mesh. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to take a plane and place it over here on the side so it's facing this surface, and we just want to lift it off a little bit like this. We're going to scale it up so it covers the entire object like this, and then we do the whole image texture thing. So we're going to bake a normal map the same way we did before. So we select this, we select the plane, we select the image texture node, we hit bake down here, and we wait 2 seconds. Now we got these details baked over here. We just want to apply them to the object. So I'm going to move over here to the other side. I'm going to apply that same material where we baked this image. By the way, you want to save this to your computer somewhere. You click on this thing over here, image save as, just save it somewhere so it doesn't disappear. We apply that same material with the baked details to the low poly version of this object, and then we just got to map it. So we select this surface, you unwrap, we adjust the UV map over here, we place it on top of the normal map in the UV editor, and there you go. That's more or less what you're supposed to do. I'm gonna make a lot of other details using the same method. By the way guys, if you're doing this for a game, you want to keep all your normal maps, all your texture maps and everything in single images. So you should only have one normal map for the whole model, which means we're gonna have to combine a bunch of different normal maps together. If you guys want, I can make another video about that. Just let me know down in the comments. And then the last thing I want to throw in there is how I made this little thing on top. I don't know what that thing is. I guess it's like the third point in the iron side. I got no idea what that does. If anybody knows, let me know. But yeah, as you can see, I make a little circle, I shape it out into this thing, I cut the thing from top so I can have this cut in the front. I create some bevels, I adjust the positions of some of the vertices or whatever, and once I set everything up on one side, then I duplicate the whole thing to the other side so I don't have to cut it twice, because I don't want to cut it twice. And that's it, there you go, it's a pretty simple object.